Stepping in, we're going to take a look at the Horizon Zero Dawn PC requirements for the new Enhanced Edition. Looking at a few things that we're talking about enhanced geometry and the foliage, enhanced NPC density, higher resolution shadows, a few of those things, but they kept coming back to the foliage and how happy they were with the enhanced foliage in the game. A lot of the game takes place in an outdoor space, so that could very well have a big impact on the game. But I'd be looking for a little bit more than just that. But it won't be long before we'll get to see just what they have cooked up. But let's take a look at the new requirements. Starting off with quite a big install size, 135 gigabytes out of your storage disks. That's quite large, but it's all becoming pretty common nowadays. And starting off for the minimum, now they're coming in at very low. And I will say I didn't see any notations here. A lot of times they'll be really sneaky at the bottom, input like a little asterisk down there, with resolution scaling or with something like that. Well, we don't see any of that here, so this seems to be pretty straightforward. And with the minimum very low, they're calling that at 720p at 30 frames a second. So I mean that's it's pretty. A lot of people would consider that below their entry point, but nevertheless, here we go. An Intel Core i3 8100 or a Ryzen 3 1300X first gen Ryzen and a Coffee Lake i3 are saying will get the job done. 16 gigabytes of RAM across the board that'll carry through all the way up to the very high. And on the GPU side, they're saying that GTX 1654 gigabyte will get the job done, or Radeon RX 5500 XT. Both 4 gigabyte cards are good for 720p, very low. So, yikes. Now bumping things up to 1080p, 60 frames a second, which a lot of people are still, that's they're still okay with that experience. So what will you need for that? You'll need an i5 8600, again another Coffee Lake CPU, and this time we're going for the very popular Ryzen 5 3600. 16 gigabytes carries over, as I mentioned before, and 1080p 60 guys, a 3060 or Radeon 5700. So the 3060 is one of very popular GPU, 1080p 60 at medium. That's quite the jump over what the 3060 can get you on the base non-enhanced version. So it'll be interesting to look at it once it's out. You know, the performance cost versus the visual impact and everything. All right, so moving on to the high settings where I think a lot of you are going to want to be at 1440p 60, but they also threw in a 4K 30. So, I know most people would rather have 1440p 60 or maybe tweak the settings a little bit, do a mix of high and medium to go beyond 60. 4K 30, I don't know many people who would choose that, but hey, you know what? It's here if that's for you. And on the CPU side, they're bumping it up to an Intel Core i7. So an i7 makes its appearance for the first time, as well as a Ryzen 7, and that is a Core i7 9700 or the Ryzen 7 3700X. Now, 1440p 60 or 4K 30 at high settings, an RTX 3070 or a Radeon RX 6800. Now it's a little bit interesting because the 3070 is an 8 gigabyte graphics card, and that's high at 4K. You're calling that'll get it done. And the 6800 non XT version is a 10 gigabyte graphics card. So still a little bit interesting to see the 3070 and 8 gigabyte card getting it done at 4K 30. VRAM requirements today on a lot of games are Or, you could look at it as they're out of control, or you could look at it as NVIDIA's being greedy with VRAM again. Any way you want to look at it. All right. So jumping over to the last column we have here, 4K, 60 frames per second, at very high settings, a great experience. You're going to need an Intel Core i7 11700 or a Ryzen 7 5700X on the CPU side. Both of those chips will get the job done. And on the GPU side, we really step up, guys. This enhanced edition, for this kind of requirements, they better be bringing some juice because a lot of people will be very unhappy with this, level of hardware for 4K 60 if they do not. And that is an NVIDIA RTX 4080, not the 4080 Super, the 4080. And excuse me. And then also the Radeon RX 7900 XT for 4K 60 at very high. Now, that's quite a bit of GPU horsepower, certainly beyond what most people have at their disposal, and well beyond what the next gen consoles are sporting. So this is the best of the best, and it will be interesting to see all the new features they put forward if it does warrant this. But so that's a look at things. On the high end of 4080, if you're just going to throw everything all out the door, and most people will probably be in the 1440p 60, the high details, so a 3070 or 6800 on the Radeon side will get the job done. If you're looking forward to playing the game, let me know down in the comment section below where you think you will come in at this chart. Be sure to comment down below and give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for stopping by.